Hello and welcome to CATSweek. I'm Annalise Poorman. The Monroe County Board of Commissioners met on August 28th. The meeting began with an update from Health Department Director Lori Kelly.
As of August 19th, emergency department visits for COVID-like illness have increased, as well as wastewater concentrations. On August 27th, Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. announced that the Food and Drug Administration has approved this year's COVID vaccines for those at higher risk. The formulas for the 2025-2026 season target the JN.1 lineage of the Omicron variant. It is still unclear at this time who will be eligible for shots this fall. Official guidelines should be published soon. The health department still has free COVID tests available. Individuals can walk in Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. to receive tests. And our public health clinic has vaccines available. You can call 812-353-3244 for an appointment or more information.
Monroe County Facility Manager Greg Crone presented an update on the AT&T multi-service agreement. Crone explained that the company would be moving their customers from a plain old telephone service line to a voice-over internet protocol line. This change would require retiring the old copper phone line systems that are still present at some locations. Crone expressed the urgency of switching lines now.
Doing this process with all this transition will bring us a savings right now of about $750 a month. If we don't get off that copper in the next year when our contract expires, that we'll end up spending about $10,000 more a month because of the way AT&T will change their charges. So it's prudent that we get this taken care of.
County Commissioner Julie Thomas said that she was concerned at first, but eventually got on board with the plan.
In the short term, $750 a month versus $88,000. That's it, is it worth doing? But now, if we know that within a year that our monthly costs are going to increase so much, yes, it's worth doing.
Next, County Attorney Jeff Cockrell discussed a request for tax abatement benefits from Simtra. Cockrell explained that the item was unanimously approved by the County Council. General Manager at the Bloomington Simtra site, Pat Adams, explained some of the benefits the new site would bring to Monroe County.
The uniqueness of this property gives us the ability to step into kind of a new field of the same type of manufacturing, highly potent. It's something that our site in Halle, Germany does. It's very popular or relevant in the oncology therapy, so a lot of cancer products are moving this direction, more targeted products, more targeted therapies. And it allows us to become the only North American commercial manufacturer for these types of products. So it really helps our clientele in terms of their supply chain and domestic supply chain. And this property is quite large. It gives us the ability to continue to expand in Monroe County.
County Commissioner Jody Madeira expressed her point of view on the tax abatement, her hope for the future of the site, and the benefits it would bring to the community.
People think that tax abatements are basically corporate giveaways, and they're not. They're really community partnerships, and you guys are going to take and invest a lot of money in our community's future. You've already taken a facility that was blighted, and you're going to do more to turn it into a productive asset. You're going to, give us good living wage jobs. And, the abatement is structured to incentivize further investment. And we look forward to partnering with you in our community's future. So thank you very much.
Commissioner Thomas further expressed her thoughts on the project, including her disappointment that prior plans fell through and her gratitude that the project is happening now.
It is exciting, and we thought something was going to happen with this property just a year or two ago, and that fell through, and it's just been disappointment after disappointment. So I think we're all very excited to see something come out of this property, and couldn't think of a better way to use it. And I just want to again compliment your company on the expansion on Curry south of this site that we're talking about, but really good work, and people are really excited about it. I mean, we even helped invest in a bus line to ensure that people can get there. So it's all coming together finally, and that's a really positive thing. So thank you for that.
The Monroe County Commissioners will meet again on September 4th. The Bloomington Board of Public Works met on August 26. City Attorney Chris Wheeler asked the board to approve an environmental deed restriction on a property located on the corner of West Fountain Drive and 8th Street.
This is an environmental restrictive covenant, and it's for CBU, Utilities Department. We are asking for two things from the board this evening. First, to have the board approve the environmental restrictive covenant to be placed upon this parcel, this remnant parcel. And we would also ask for approval from the board to proceed with plans to install the bioretention facility on this remnant parcel. I will say this, though, you might see me coming back shortly to ask the board to transfer the property to CBU so that the Utilities Department can take their actions to the Utility Service Board as opposed to coming up here. We love coming and visiting, but you guys might rather do other things. So what we talked about yesterday in the work session is that we did an environmental study before. We are required to do an environmental study on this property before putting in the bioretention pond. That environmental study has been completed. And one of the things that IDEM required was for us to place this environmental restrictive covenant on the property. It restricts use of the property. It prevents us from putting things like a kindergarten on this remnant property. It's too small for that, but we can't do it. We can't do daycares. We can't do residential property. It also requires us to provide notice to anybody that we might sell the property to. So if we do create a transfer from one department to the other, we might have to put that notice in the transfer that explains that there is this restrictive covenant on the property. And when we do transfers, we are required to let IDEM know that the transfer has occurred. Those are the highlights of the covenant.
Board member James Roach asked for more information on the environmental issues on the property. Bloomington Utilities Director Catherine Zager responded, saying that they found 3 harmful chemicals in the soil.
One of the raised levels was lead and arsenic. Arsenic, Bloomington has a history of having elevated soil arsenic, but that was, again, detected here. And then additionally, there were some readings in the PFAS category. So those were the contaminants that were found, and we have a soil management plan that we intend to fully implement as part of this project.
The board approved the deed restriction unanimously. Later in the meeting, the board heard an update from engineering field specialist Kyle Baugh on the city-wide fiber project.
We have in the staff report a list of locations where repairs from the citywide fiber project are currently underway. Our intention is to bring these every 2 weeks for these 2-week permitted intervals, very short-term closures to get these repairs made. The focus here is the core holes that are going to be in the asphalt of these various locations. So we have a few that have been completed. So this is the starting from a couple weeks ago, and then the current that was just issued yesterday. So we're looking forward to getting many more of these repairs completed in the next several weeks. They have case on the contract, and they're working very quickly to try to remediate as much as possible to get everything back in order.
The Bloomington Board of Public Works will meet again on September 9th. The Monroe County Community School Corporation Board of Trustees met on August 26. During public comment, President of the Monroe County Education Association, Jenny Noble Kuchera, said that the teachers' union will begin collective bargaining next month. This comes in the wake of funding cuts for public schools at the state level.
Next month, the MCEA will begin the collective bargaining process. Everyone here knows that the state has robbed us of the funding public schools across the state need. Although it is indecent to have denied students what they deserve, we soldier on. We teach them that perseverance is a life skill. Indiana Code 202964 reads that the subjects of bargaining are that a school employer shall bargain collectively with the exclusive representative on the following: salary, wages, salary and wage-related fringe benefits, including accident, sickness, health, dental, vision, life, disability, retirement benefits, and paid time off as permitted. No one this year expects a significant raise, but we do expect to bargain in good faith for an agreement that respects the dignity and needs of all teachers in the bargaining unit. This school year is underway with fewer teachers than last year. We strive every day to do our best. We persevere. In turn, we will execute ourselves as good faith bargainers. To us, this means the possibility of items like improved and just leaves, medical, dental, and vision insurance that will not empty our wallets before the paycheck has even been deposited, support for teachers' continued professional growth, and more. At the start of my own teaching career in MCCSC, my children were eligible, due to my salary, for free and reduced lunch. Later, I made just too much for them to qualify as 21st century scholars. I could never afford our extended day program, so they learned what to do at faculty meetings. I want our next generation of teachers, who are also parents, to have an easier time. I want them to get closer to not having second jobs and not living paycheck to paycheck.
Next, Assistant Superintendent of Curriculum, Instruction, and Assessment, Alexis Harmon, presented instructional materials related to human sexuality. Harmon noted that according to a new law passed in the State House, all public school districts need to post an online list of materials that they use to teach about human sexuality.
Per Indiana Senate Enrolled Act 442, the governing body of a school corporation shall publish a list of any instructional materials used in connection with instruction on human sexuality on the school's website. I recommend that the board approve the comprehensive listing of instructional materials related to human sexuality.
The board approved the motion unanimously. Then Superintendent Dr. Markay Winston went over the school corporation's 2-year budget. She said that the school district needs to factor in population decline and a reduction in state and federal funding, all the while trying to manage expenses.
We are experiencing a population decline here in Monroe County, and it is most notable in working adults aged 25 to 44. 2, we are experiencing a decline in state funding. We are experiencing a decline in state funding that we receive, and we fully expect this decrease to continue into the future. In 2025 alone, we have lost approximately $1.5 million due to the elimination of the Curricular Materials Grant, and we expect this loss to continue for at least the next 7 years. 3, school districts across the country received ESSER dollars in the early days of the pandemic, and those dollars have recently ended, and there have been reductions or threats of reductions to the federal dollars that schools rely upon to supplement supports and services to our children. And 4, we continue to experience increased costs in utilities, transportation, liability insurance, and other uncontrollable expenses. Because of these facts, MCCSC is experiencing declining enrollment, which has a direct impact on the revenue that we receive to support instruction. In recent years, corporation staffing levels were not adjusted to keep pace with declining enrollment. As a result of previously made decisions, my executive team and I, during the past 6 months, have been forced to make difficult but prudent decisions to make sure that our staffing levels throughout the corporation are directly aligned to actual student enrollment. In other words, we cannot live beyond our means.
Winston went on to measure the impact of Senate Enrolled Act 1 in the State House, which reduced property tax revenue for schools.
Locally, we are already beginning to feel the effects of state legislation in the amount of money we receive from our voter-approved referenda. In 2025, this year, we are already receiving approximately $1.3 million less than our voters approved for us to receive to educate our children. As a result of SEA 1, we anticipate the loss of additional many millions more due to decreased property tax revenue for schools, combined with the requirements to share revenue with local charter schools.
Chief Financial Officer Matt Irwin projected that MCCSC will face a deficit in the future based on their current financial trajectory. Irwin says this is still a problem despite cost-cutting efforts that the school district has enacted.
Noticing what we're looking at as you move into the following years, you get down into 2028, and we're looking at over a $30 million deficit. And so you see our fund balances obviously trending in the wrong direction at a high pace.
To cut costs, the school corporation has already eliminated 61 non-classroom jobs through natural attrition and by consolidating positions. The next MCCSC Board of Trustees meeting will take place on September 23rd. The Monroe County Board of Zoning Appeals met on August 25th. The board heard 10 requests from the Huff Revocable Trust for variances on their property located on South Shadyside Drive. Some of the variance requests were for accessible dwelling units, new roads, and slope encroachments. Huff legal representative Todd Borgman explained the purpose of the variance requests. He said that the widening of the roads is a safety issue.
I know 4 of you, if not all 5 of you, were on the BZA back in 2023, and at that time, the Huffs presented their case to put in that road for safety, and that is where we are at now. I understand there's an existing road there, and I understand it can be used for certain things, but as with any road, when it's going to be used more often, it is usually upgraded and widened. And you're going to go from having agricultural equipment to construction equipment to full-time residents to friends and family there. There's no doubt about it that those roads are going to see more traffic. And by widening those roads, they become safer. And I don't know if you remember or not, but at the hearing back in 2023, the sheriff's department and the fire department submitted letters saying that they would like to see those roads improved for safety. And I think the other thing to remember about the roads is, and I understand that, planning staff is showing some numbers about square footages and linear feet, but anything that the Huffs do to these roads will require variances. There are some parts of them that are not in current 12% slopes, but the ones that are, any modification of these roads will require a variance. Any utility installation, any silt fence, any widening, any modification would require these variances. And yes, the Huffs want to upgrade it. They want to widen it. They want to create these roads and make them safe for friends, family, workers, moving forward. And that is what they're trying to do. If you got to go for the variance anyway, why not go for the variance and improve it to the way it needs to be improved to?
In support of the variances that had been heard so far, nearby resident Lynn Rogers said that she felt that Joe Huff has been cooperative and has taken her preferences into consideration.
I live at the second house to the end on the cul-de-sac on Shadyside. And Joe has been very good about cooperating with us to keep our end of the road at the very end. He could have taken out our neighbor, Ron and Linda Moss's, basically their whole front yard, because the easement actually extended almost to his doorstep. But instead, he didn't even disturb his driveway. He made it as just so he's on the other side of his driveway and put a lot of extra time and money into making it so he could bypass disturbing his land at all. Across the street from us, we've always had woods. Now he has that easement that's right across the street from us. And one of the things I mentioned to him is I didn't want a straight drive through the woods there, that I didn't want that particularly as my view. And so he kindly just curved it enough to make it so that it looks fine. So he's been cooperative with us.
During public comment on the variances, nearby resident Michael Kane spoke against the development and said that they have engaged in litigation against the petitioner in the past.
The bigger the buildings, the more traffic. He talked about the roads they're concerned about on that property. Shadyside Drive, where we all have to drive every day, it's got the same blind curves, only worse. It's got the same blind hills. It's narrow. There are no shoulders. There's a place where you pull off and you could literally roll down the hill. And we've been dealing with logging trucks and heavy equipment since 2018, maybe sooner, before, I don't know. The Huffs had the opportunity, and they took the opportunity in November of 2016 to hire Steve Smith, the surveyor. He gave him a full report. There's a memo. I've got a copy of it. He gave him a slope map with 2-foot contours with the 12% and 15% slope lines on it. And then several months later, he purchased the property. He was well aware of what he was buying. He was advised that the county had strict building regulations on that property. If he didn't do his due diligence, I'm sorry. That's not your responsibility or the public's responsibility. The shores and the map you see, the easements control access to the Terre Haute Realty property and the Chumley property. There is no easement for the Chumley property. In a 2023 appellate court decision, it states quite clearly that he cannot use the easements through the shores, that's an entire road through the shores subdivision, to develop Chumley or log it. Well, he'd already clear cut it and logged it by the time that decision came down. But the development, we're still in court over it. And it also limits any development on the Terre Haute Realty property to residential. And we're still in court over that. And we're still in court over the definition of what is prudent logging, which is another decision handed down by the appellate court. So residential doesn't mean agriculture. It doesn't mean vineyards. It doesn't mean event centers. It's residences. It's very clear in the easements. I don't think it's the obligation of the public to bend the rules so that he can maximize his profits or fulfill a dream. He can build a nice house. There's no problem.
Also in opposition to the petition was Mark Gallhausen, who said that he has lived on the road for 40 years.
I'm one of those 8 people that lives in that spur road. It is measured at 12 feet, but it is often, my measurements are about a foot to a foot and a half narrower than that in a lot of places. It serves 8 of us. I've been there for 42 years now. It's been a peaceful community. That is effectively a driveway. When I moved in there and came in there in the early 80s, that was a private drive sign, speed limit 15. That sign is now gone, and it serves still 8 people. At the time I came in, there maybe were 5 or 6 people. The bottom line I want to get to is that it has been effectively a driveway, a residential drive for all of us. It's a spur road. It goes nowhere. It goes to Ridgetop and it stops. There's an easement, I guess, that goes beyond, but it's not been used. What I want to know is, what sense does it make to take the end of our little spur road, which is going to be blown out to 16 feet and double wide and paved, and then make a zigzag down through the middle to get to Chumley property? You've got 3 other access points that could be optimized or could be argued about or could be opened up or changed, but it just makes no sense to me to go through all that sensitive area with a road that you'd have to go through all kinds of steep grades. I don't think he'd get the variances to do that, but I'm questioning, why is that even being considered? You're tearing up our little residential area, personally. We're not really part of the main Shady side. We're a spur, and you can do all that you need to get on the paved road without even coming down our house. The only people that drive down there are the people that live there. I used to recreate on the property that Joe Huff bought. We could hike it, we could cross-country ski back in there, we could walk our dogs. It was very peaceful. Terre Haute Realty allowed us to go back in there, that horse ride back in there. That was taken away in 2017. We were all issued a no trespassing. I have that letter somewhere. Basically, don't go there. You'll be filmed. The police will be called on you. And I did nothing to ever deserve that letter, but we all got that letter. We put up with the logging trucks. We put up all the congestion, our road being torn up. that road has been busier now in the last 8 years than all of the years prior to my living here. So I just wanted to say I support what all of the people have said that are against this, and I just want to add my comments to that. I don't know how that, if I have it correctly grafted, but my understanding is that that's an all-new road, like almost 6,000 feet long or something, I believe.
The board voted on some of the variances and voted to postpone the others due to time constraints as the meeting had gone past 9 p.m. The meeting was 4 hours and 14 minutes long. The board will continue to discuss the variances at a future meeting. The Ellettsville Town Council met on August 25th and approved 2 voluntary annexations. The Blackwell Contractors and Value Built Construction Properties were annexed and zoned for general business. Councilmember William Ellis said the annexation supports the town's growth.
I'd just like to make a comment to the general public when they always think, well, you're growing, we're gonna have more taxes because of that. Just for this small parcel, it's not much. I mean, negligible, $11 per year for a $200,000 home. But if you do this multiple times over the course of the year, people see tax savings. So when I say that growing actually can help save, you on your tax dollars, those people that are anti-growth, well, and want their taxes lower, those two things they don't go together. I mean, you actually have to grow to lower your taxes.
The estimated tax rate for Ellettsville will decrease from 0.5673% to 0.5645% from 2025 to 2026. Next, the council discussed the wheel tax and motor vehicle license excise tax. The county is required to implement the tax to remain eligible for state community crossings grants, which Street Commissioner Kip Heddy said covers between 2/3 and 3/4 of street construction costs. Ellis said that he would have preferred alternative funding methods and expressed concern about adding to the county wheel tax.
I would just say this is not something I traditionally would support, but I have, over the last couple of years, we've seen the road funds shrink and shrink. I mean, cigarette tax used to pay for a lot of that. Luckily, less people are smoking now. And to be clear, I think I mentioned at the last one, this wheel tax is necessary for us to get grants from a larger fund.
The wheel tax will cost residents $5 per vehicle, and the excise tax will cost $15 per vehicle. Town Manager Mike Farmer emphasized that these are the lowest possible rates.
The wheel tax that we are implementing is at its lowest form, so we could have went a lot higher on a wheel tax, and the board wanted to go with the lowest numbers we could. So we did the tax because we have to, because we want to protect the community crossing grants, but we did impose a tax that was at its lowest.
Ellis supported the tax, saying it ensures that new residents help pay for new roads.
One of the things I hear time and time again from residents, we don't want to pay for new growth. Well, guess what? This is one way you're not going to be paying for the new growth.
The council approved both the wheel tax and the vehicle excise tax. And that is all for CATSweek. Thank you for joining us. For CATS and WFHB, I'm Annalise Poorman.